CMH, your number one historic sim racing network, presents Auto Racing 22. A very good evening to you. Welcome to Croft Motor Racing Circuit here in North Yorkshire for this ninth round of the BARC Formula Ford Championship. And we are back once again with another action-packed evening of motor racing here at the Classic Motorsport Hub. We've got a total of 8 cars booked in tonight, I believe, but we have just got an extra one in the server, so that's making 9 cars now to do battle here this evening at Croft. So we've got the cars out on practice at the moment, just getting the first few lap times set of the day. Then, of course, we're moving to qualifying at 6 o'clock GMT, or BST as the case is at the moment. And once we've got everything sorted, we'll be underway and racing. Right, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown as well of the track here at Croft tonight. So this, of course, is the original Croft circuit before the new stadium complex was added earlier in later in its life. The track is 10 turns, a distance of 1 3/4 miles, which equates to 2.8 kilometres roughly as well. Heat race distance will be 11 laps and the final race distance will be 20. So this, of course, is our second visit of the season to the Croft circuit following the appearance of the Formula Fords here back at the start of the season in March, which was the first round of the series, where Matthew Sibioni was desperately unlucky and had a crash in the same place in 2 occasions over the course of the meeting down at Spa Bend, which is the fast left-hander leading into the final complex of the course. So, and also David Saber went on to win the final on that occasion as well. So he was the man to stop around here at Croft. He's out there again today and currently second place in the timing sheets in this practice session. We're just looking at Joe Gillett in 57, who was also running very well in that outing here earlier in the season. So as you can clearly see, we've got everybody just out there on track, getting their selves acclimatised to this Croft circuit again after around 4 months away from the circuit now. As it's good to see we've got a decent entry of cars. We're almost in double figures, which is a nice showing from the Formula Ford category, as Joe Gillett comes to a sliding halt on the grass in front of us. There's Klipinski in 53, who I seem to remember running fairly well elsewhere early in the season. I believe only seen him race once, but that's not to say he's raced more than that, as I have missed a couple of meetings this year. I remember right, I think I missed the first Alton Park and the Cadwell outing, so I missed those 2 rounds. But he's just pulling off to the side of the road, so clearly he's going back to the pits to do something to the car, or maybe he's just waiting for some updates. But speaking of which, we'll have a look as well at the championship standings as well, if we are able to. So this is all following the 8th round of the season at Alton Park. It does say 7 up there. That's because one of the meetings didn't go ahead due to entries, I believe it was. But Pascal Mikula leads the championship on 106 points and David Saber in second on 102. Third is Joe Gillett on 72 and fourth is Owen Potter on 62. Rounding out the top 5 is Klipinski on 39. Then Sibioni is 6th with 37. Chris Hood is 7th on 36. Halil Sahin is running 8th on 25. Luciano Cuevas is 9th on 24. And Simon Witt rounds out the top 10 with 22, but he is tied with Gilahani and Slabby, who are also on 22, but they've been put into 11th and 12th positions on countback. So that's how that works, and that's your top 10. So we are just about ready to go with our qualifying session, I would think, for the Formula Fords. We are on 6 o'clock, so we're just waiting for everybody to be given the all clear. And there is just one car I need to get down on my entry sheet as well before we get underway with this one, just so I remember it, as there's a late entry that I haven't seen yet today. And just whilst we do that as well, just a quick notification of the format tonight. This is what we run through every meeting with Formula Ford. So, Formula Ford, we have 4 sessions over the course of the night's racing. We start things out with a 15-minute qualifying session to set the grid for the heats. The odd-numbered cars in qualifying, so first and third, etc., go in heat race number 1, and then the even-numbered cars, for example, positions 2 and 4 go into heat race number 2. Then we have 2 heat races of half cars. So basically, 50% of the entry is in one race, 50% of the entry goes in the other heats. After that, the overall race time of the 2 heat races is combined to give us the final grid. So the fastest car over the course of the 2 heats will then be set on pole for the final. And then it will go further down the grid depending on how quickly they did their race in. So very similar to the format they use in Rallycross. So that's how that's going to work, and that will set the final grid. It also mixes the final grid up a little bit, as it necessarily doesn't mean that the quickest car on the day is going to be on pole for the big race. And of course, the final is the only race of the day that scores any championship points. The heat races and the qualifying session are there just to get you to the final, but don't actually implicate the championship standings by any means possible. So that's how that works. We've now got cars out on track for qualifying, as they are just about getting we are just about getting everybody sorted and ready to go. And once again, I apologise if there's any bit of downtime here, as I am sometimes having to look back and forth between 2 screens, and I apologise for that. But nonetheless, we are now getting cars out on their outlap. We've already got a couple of them exiting the final complex down at Oxo Bend and the chicane. Here they come through the chicane. The chicane that, I have to admit, reminds me very much of the final chicane at Goodwood, which, of course, another very famous motor racing circuit in the UK. Not used so much these days, apart from historic racing. It's not really used. In fact, it's not used at all for current day Formula or contemporary cars, as I should say, maybe is more the case. We've now got cars already out on their flying laps. We've got a total of, I believe, got 7 of them out on track, and we've got 2 of them still in the pits. We've got Halil Sahin and Simone Gilahadi, who've decided not to come out. And oops, and round we go already as 53 Kaplinski's gone up and over, got a rollover already. So 53 of Kaplinski's gone up and over. I'm not quite sure where that was on the circuit. I think that was on the run down into Barncroft. I think he lost it through the S's, and the car has exited stage left as the drivers see it. Stage right for us. He's gone up the banking, on up and over, big style. So a very spectacular crash to start the day off, and let's hope that's not setting the tone for the rest of the day. But that lap, I think we can fairly conclusively say, is incomplete and will not be getting posted anytime soon. So Kaplinski will have to come back into the pits and try again. We've got a spin as well on the entrance to Oxo Bend. We've lost Joe Gillis in a circle as well. So a few drivers already been caught out by this track surface in this qualifying session so far. In the meantime, I can say that Kaplinski went fastest in the first sector, but then lost it. So it looks like David Saber's going to pick the pieces up, I think, in number 83. As he comes to the timing line now to set his first flying lap of the day. We'll wait for the timing screen to give us the all clear. He goes across with a 119.4, and then that's immediately toppled by a 116.7 by David Saber. Christian Dorr has gone through as well with a 119.4 as well. I've got more cars piling lap times in. Sibiani comes through with a 119.9. So at the moment, nobody's anywhere near David Saber. The nearest challenger is in the region of 2.6 seconds, whereas Halil Sahin has had a bit of a moment on the entrance to the chicane and almost gone straight on, but he survived it and will come across the line to complete a lap. That was an out lap for Halil, so thankfully it wasn't a flying lap. There's Matthew Sabiani on the side of the road. I think he may have been just leaving the pit area there. That he was just letting Sahin through, as he knew he was on a flying lap, as Sahin has now run wide on the exit of Tower Bend, which is the first corner, has in fact decided enough is enough and pulls the Shell Oils car off the circuit. Somebody locked a big star in the background of shot there going off. I think that was at Oxo Bend. Whoever it is, I think they survived it at least. So we're back looking at Kaplinski here, who's back out on track and is currently I believe on a flying lap again. We'll get that confirmed to you once the time screen updates, as Christian Dower has gone through and improved his lap time, gone for the 1:18.0. Kapinski's gone the wrong side of the bales going down the railway straight, which has cost him track position to Pascal Mikula in the number 3 car, the Works Lola, one of the 2 Works Lolas, the other one being driven by Matthew Sabiani in car number 2, the STP sponsored cars. So lap time's obviously coming in as David Saber's come through and set a lap time 10 seconds off his best, so I'm guessing he has had a spin out of our sight somewhere. As coming through the chicane comes the number 3 car of Pascal Mikula. He's run wide on the chicane, oopsie daisy, and well held, good sir, just about kept it on the straight now, comes across the line, and that lap time will be, well, it was a quickest second sector, but I think the third sector will be a throwaway. He still goes third place though, but the timing screen is determined not to show me a lap time for it, so I apologise in advance for that. The timing screen once again deciding it's not wanting to play ball with me. I'll let it sort itself out. I'm sure it'll update itself in due course. So with that, David Saber still is quickest, but he's only quickest by 1/10 of a second as Joe Gillett has managed in the meantime to get a 1:16.9. Pascal Mikula's lap time still hasn't come through, I'm afraid, so obviously maybe a bit of an intermittent transponder on that, or the timing screen just really has had enough. But looking further down the grid then, Christian Dower, one I've not seen race before in 22, is currently third and is 1.2 seconds drift of the leader and only 4/10 off second place Joe Gillett, so he's running very well early doors in this one. We're still waiting on 3 cars to set lap times, so cars 2:08, 3:40 and 32 are still yet to set lap times. Matthew Sabiani goes through and sets his personal best lap of 1:18.7 as Klapinski comes through and sets the fastest lap of the session of 1:16.025, so that's him rocketing up the standings in the 53 car, which is all well and good despite his very large moments early doors, as Matthew Sabiani just stopped in the middle of the track and somehow wasn't collected, as I thought he might have been there, as he stopped right on the racing line. David Saber second in the session still, but only by 900ths of a second, so not much separating the top 2. It's not really that much bigger of a gap, no matter what way you put it. And I can tell you that Joe Gillett and David Saber have now got identical lap times for second. They're both on 1:16.115, so both of them identical lap times, as David Saber's had a moment as well. That was down, whereabouts was that? That was going round Oxo Ben there. He's obviously run wide. Oh, big crash on the start-finish race, just in the distance there. A cloud of smoke and one of the front nose cones going flying, so I think someone skewered themselves on the end of the pit wall, unfortunately. Another fastest lap for Kapinski, now going for a 1:15.6, and Pascal Mikula comes through with a 1:15.8. So really, the lap time is beginning to tumble in this one. We are currently halfway through the session, so we've got 7 minutes gone. There'll be 8 minutes to go very, very shortly, in roughly 20 seconds' time. So looking like David Saber had a bit of a moment there coming through the S's at the start of the lap in the first sector. Well, I say, yeah, the first sector just about, as the S's finished the first sector, and then the second timing beam is placed just on the exit of the S's, and that makes its way round the Barncroft and Sunny corner, and then the timing beam is just on the entrance to Spa Bend, which is where it will then go into sector 3, which obviously takes you round the rest of the lap and start finish line. So still looks like Kapinski's got the nose ahead. He's now a full 10th of a second clear of Pascal Mikula, who's running second at the moment. We've now got 3 cars in the 1:15 barrier, but only just within it for a couple of them being on 0.8, whereas Kapinski's a bit further into it with a 0.6. Like I say, we're still waiting for 3 cars to set lap times. I can tell you one of them He's now on an out lap as we've got a lock up for Chris Dorr going into the chicane. Nearly goes for a spin and keeps the 22 car just about on the straight and narrow. So well held once again. The chicane was the action station on the last occasion we came here to Croft, with a few cars meeting the dry stone walls either side of it. Fastest lap for Pascal McHugh there with his personal best lap anyway, I think that was. Well, at least somebody did. Saw the time screen light up green, didn't see who it was, unfortunately. So we're just waiting, as I say, still for those last three cars to get themselves on the timing screen. At the moment, they're not looking in a good place if they don't set lap times. Of course, they will be drawn into heats anyway, regardless, but it would certainly benefit them to set lap time. Oh, dear me, as I thought Chris Dorr was going straight into the hay bales on the exit of Sunny Corner there. In the meantime, we've had another personal best lap coming as Klipinski just assaulting the rune really even more to the other competitors now, because that's a 15.4. So lap times tumbling more and more as it turns out, and Kaplinski somehow has managed to dial the car in considerably better than everybody else has so far, and has got a 0.4 of a second advantage over the chasing pack. So it'll be interesting to see how he can get on in the heats as Dorr brings the car into the pit lane on the exit of the chicane. So maybe going in for a quick setup change of some description with that machine. There's a Krechachovi in number 32. That's the late entry to the programme tonight. So that's the one I haven't got down on my list. So just seeing how well he gets on. He's currently out on his first flying lap of the session. Currently got a 26.5 in the first sector. And he's down the second sector, heading down the railway straight towards the final complex at Spa and Oxo Bends. Into the left-hander at Spa, and then into the right-hander at Oxo he'll begin to go. Somebody's obviously gone wide there in the pass, because there's a very telltale sign of some tyre marks going off into the runoff area down there, unfortunately. So here he comes into the final corner, Krechachovi. Into the final chicane, he'll go right, then he will go left, and then on the run to the line. What's he going to do this time around? Across the line he's going to be. Let's have a quick look at the timing screen when he decides he wants to tell me. Across the line he's gone, and he goes into 7th with a 1:19.523. So he's the slowest the cars have set lap times so far, but he will probably improve if he does another couple of laps or so, which I'm sure will be something he will endeavour to do. As what you don't want to do in qualifying really is be a one-hit wonder and only do one lap. That's very much a bit of a death story to get a higher grid place. Still Halil Sahin and Simone Gilahadi, who are still to set lap times in cars 208 and 340. As David Saber goes past Krechachovi, who has decided enough is enough and has pulled off onto the grass, but he's got himself back going at a fairly decent rate of knots now, and will continue to set his line. Oh, maybe not. And off into the runoff area he goes. He's, I think, just missed the hay bale. So first commentator's curse of the night, and I apologise in advance for that one. And I apologise in advance for any more commentators' curses over the course of the night. So with that, the session begins to wind down. We are somewhere in the region of just 2 minutes to go now. In fact, it will be 2 minutes to go in 2, 1, and now we're at 2 minutes to go. So any drivers out on laps will have to try and do their damnedest to get more than one in. Like I say, I'm still concerned that two cars haven't done lap times, and they're both still sat in the pit. So I'm guessing maybe both of them are deciding they just want to start from the back of the grid and try and work their way through, which is a valid tactic if the ones in front of you decide they're having to come in together. As we look at David Saber making his way around the back of the circuit, through the right-hand kink at Barncroft into the heavy braking zone at Sunny Corner, 90-degree right that puts you onto the railway straight. He goes round in the Sunshine Desserts car, and he will proceed to make his way down towards Spa Bend, which is the fast left-hander, as they make their way into the final sector. This track, of course, not many left-handers. And off into the runoff area goes the Sunshine Desserts car. Big moment there as that was David Saber going well and truly off the track and into the run of phase. Joe Gillett has ground to a halt on the entrance to the chicane as well. Not quite sure what that was all about, the car coming to a halt, but he's managed to get himself back off and running, and he's going to go for his final lap now as he's crossed the line with, looking at the time screen, he has got, as he crosses the line screen, he's got 40 seconds a lap, which he'll do a lap in 40 seconds. He can't do another one after this, though, as the average lap time is seeming to be around the 1:16 margin for these Formula 4s. The quick boys are doing 1:15s. The car's a little bit further off the pace in the 1:18-19 section. So that is a valid point as well. And I think Joe Gillett has just thrown that lap away with a tank slapper heading into Barncroft and has decided enough is enough, and he retires from the remaining part of the session. Pastor McCulla's come storming across the line with a mere 8 seconds left to go. So quitting it fine there to get a final lap in car number 3. The cherry flag is at the ready in the meantime as well. We've got one car that has improved in the meantime in sector number 2. That was Matthew Sabbioni, but he's then decided enough is enough and has retired from the session. So he's electing not to finish. So McCulla has made his way through the right-hander at Sunny Corner. So it looks like we're just waiting to see how well we get on with the remaining part of the session. Purple second sector has just gone in, I think, for Pascal McCulla possibly. Then that was Klipinski, that's got the fastest first and second sector. So whatever lap time he's on, he's looking to be even quicker than what has come before. So that 1:15.4 may not be staying that any longer. Across the line he's gone, waiting for the timing screen to give us the reading to see how well he's got on with that time. And it's gone quicker, with a 1:14.905, and Pascal McCulla comes across the stripe. What's he going to do? We'll have a look. And once again, the timing screen has not picked Pascal McCulla up into the sectors. So the last lap there apparently was a 1:15.697. That's his best lap of the session overall. But with that, Klipinski has gone quickest, and he's 7/10 clear of the car in second place. Now, in Formula Ford terms, that is the equivalent of an eternity. Because these cars are all identical in one form or another, all spec series, 7/10 of a second is a gaping chasm in the readings. So that's a very impressive margin to have got by. So with that, 7 of the 9 cars have elected to join us on track for qualifying. So we'll see what we do with the final 2 cars, depending on what order we want to put them in. And then we'll see where they end up regarding their heats. I can confirm to you that Heat 1 will have 5 cars and Heat 2 will have 4 cars. The grids will be confirmed very shortly. As always, between sessions, we're just going to go for a quick break whilst we get everything sorted behind the scenes. And then we'll be back with you very shortly with Heat 1 of the night for the Formula Fords.
From Walt Disney Pictures, Peter Pan is back.
Here we go!
Back in the adventure of a lifetime. Back to battle the notorious, uproarious Captain Hook.
Come down, boy! This is your last chance!
It's the story of the boy who never grew up in a movie you'll never forget. Only in theaters, it's Walt Disney's classic, Peter Pan, rated G.
Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspapers for showtimes.
This young man may not look like a Hollywood star, but he is. Now, on the next Entertainment Tonight, we've got the inside story about a courageous actor who's conquered overwhelming odds to make television history. His name is Christopher Burke. Born with Down syndrome, he's doing something most would say is impossible. He's starring in a primetime TV show.
I would love to be the role model.
Meet this remarkable man who's making his dreams come true.
Make your wish, make your wish.
Only on the next Entertainment Tonight.
Tonight at 7:30, right after Jeopardy, here on Channel 7.
Gorgeous blonde. I'd say I'm a smart blonde. I use preference. The color is rich with subtle shadings, and my hair has such life. Well, that's the preference difference. He thinks I'm worth it. He's right.
Performing preference from L'Oreal.
Sunshine, fun time, friendlies in the summertime. Get a deal friendly, that is summertime. A super single comfort free. Vacation pick up 23. Friendly, rich and creamy ice cream. It's gonna be a friendly summer.
Get a free
free Super Single Cone at Friendly's when you buy any sandwich with fries. Or when you buy any platter. A great deal for a short time.
It's gonna be a friendly summer.
Take a Carnival cruise.
Christina, you got everything?
Everything, Richard.
When you win the Coca-Cola Classic Fox Isle of Dreams treasure hunt.
This is the spot.
Cruise winners hunt for treasure.
Well, I'm gonna search for a tan.
There are all kinds of prizes, like jet skis, cars, and the biggest prize of all, $1 million.
Wow!
With Fox and Coca-Cola Classic, the official soft drink of summer.
This is the spot.
Richard.
Can't beat the feeling.
Right, so very warm welcome once again back to Croft for this second part of the evening. This is going to be heat race number 1 of the night for the Formula Ford. Joining us on circuit will be underway and racing in the next few minutes for the first 11-lap heat race of the evening, and we're hopefully going to be in for a very, very lively session indeed. So we're going to have 5 cars on the circuit for this one and see how we go. And so I've just been given all the grids as well to give you. So I'll give you the Heat 1 grid as we have them then. So the first heat will be row 1, will be inside 53, outside will be 57. Row 2 will be inside 22, outside is going to be, forgetting them, the 32 car. And then row 3, all in its own, will be car 340. So that's the grid for heat number 1. 5 cars on the track. So we'll see how well we get on. Now, the last time we came here to Croft, the heat races were dramatic, is how I'm going to phrase them. We haven't got Owen Potter here this evening, so hopefully no one's going to run out of fuel on this occasion. But if any of the drivers are watching the live stream, that's a reminder to put fuel in your cars, because otherwise I don't think you can get very far, funnily enough. So we're just waiting to see how we get on. We're just waiting to get the all clear from around various parts of the circuit. So it looks like we've got a few cars just doing a couple of laps prior to this race. Obviously, the cars that aren't in this race will be removed from the server, I believe, and it will just be the 5 cars we need, and in some cases also the admin as well, just to keep an eye on things as well, which is also very helpful for me because the admin normally acts as quite a nice spotter for me, things I don't see. So that's always very helpful to have indeed. So it looks like we're just waiting to be given the all clear. I'm not quite sure what the delay is at the moment, but I'll try and get that clarified on when we're going to get going, as we're just waiting for the all clear. So it looks like Klipinski's going round for a lap. Not that he really needs to do another lap, as he's doing very well so far, and I suspect that maybe the next session, yes it is. So I think that means we are just about set and ready to go racing for the first time tonight here at Croft. We are just moments away from the first race of the evening. This is the Classic Motorsport Hub Formula Ford Championship on circuit. Five cars on the track. It's waiting for the all clear from around the circuit. You'll see on the right-hand side of your screen the start marshal with a green flag in hand, and he will drop that on the field when he is satisfied. Here we go. The green flag is up, waiting for it to come back down. And it's down, green flag, away we go, we're underway and racing, and the car at the back of the grid is having a shocking start and has bogged down. The first 3 are away. We've got one car that hasn't started, which is not a good start, as Klipinski leads the charge to turn 1. It's the right-hander at Tower Bend they go, and they make their way round A-OK. Dawes fall in second place in 22. Down to third is Joe Gillett in 57. He started, I believe, on the outside of row 1, as they make their way through the S's for the first time in this 11-lap race for the Formula Ford. So, round the right-hander at Barncroft, the top 3 have more or less filed themselves into line of stern order round the sunny corner for the first time. So it looks like we've got them now making their way down to the left-hander at Spa-Ben with Klipinski, your leader. From Dore in second place, Gillett is third. We've still got one car tailing at the rear, and that's Krashevici. And well, I don't think he's tailing at the rear anymore. I think he's just hit the hay bales flat out, unfortunately. So I think his race could be run early doors. So I think, as the saying goes, then there were three. I think maybe the case for this one, as they make their way into the chicane for the first time. So Kopinski will come round to complete the first lap, and I can confirm to you that we have lost one already, which is not exactly ideal, I grant you, but we've still got enough of them left out there to do battle, I'm sure. The leader has scarpered away, leaving the second place battle to do the business, as Joe Gillett will certainly give Chris Dorr something to look about, I think, in the 22 cars. They make their way into their section. This is not an overtaking opportunity on the most part, as those hay bales on the inside more or less eradicate any sort of bravery to go side by side, because if you hit one of those, well, you know about it. Onto the inside of Barncroft, and Gillett goes on the inside. He's in fact thrown the inside at Sunny Corner with a last of the late breakers manoeuvre, and Dorr will now fall in line behind in 22. And I think these two will continue to battle on for the foreseeable future. Klipinski has checked out the hotel and gone at this stage, so whether he has any mistakes remains to be seen. That could be the only thing that brings him back into this race for the other two, as far as they're concerned, in what is going to be a fairly spread out race, unfortunately, by the looks of it. But they come into the chicane once again. Gillett and Dorr still running line astern, nose to tail. They will be certainly the two to watch out for as the race progresses. But at the end of the day, do they really want to fight? The answer to that question is not really, because if they fight, they're only slowing themselves down more and more. Because, to get a quick race time, fighting with somebody else is just slowing you down. So these two may decide to settle their differences for this one and decide to run in formation. But on the contrary, the racing drivers, they will probably go hammer for tongues. But it looks like Dorr has dropped back off the back of Gillett, who has currently had a bit of an excursion on the exit of the S's and gone a bit wide, but he's kept it pointing in the right direction, if that's any consolation for anybody in this one. But as I say, Klipinski is away and gone clear, which is not ideal. So coming into the Spa Bend complex, and Dorr's under the rear wing of the Joe Gillett machine. Well, I say rear wing, there isn't one on the car, but you get what I mean. There's sort of a tail fin on them, if that counts. But they've now closed up a game, but it looks like Gillett has the advantage on the corners, but Dorr is better under brakes, as we just seen to the chicane there. Dorr closes up so much on the entrance to the chicane, but with either chicane and Gillett, I thought he was going to pull away more than that, but he does pull away ever so slightly on the exit of the corner. So clearly two very different driving styles on display here. But looking at the lap times and also, how close they're on track, it's not making a huge amount of difference around this circuit, the various driving styles. The lap times, just to tell you, comparing the two of them, Joe Gillett's a 117.554 and Christian Dorr is a 117.510. So the lap times are similar. And then you look at the lap time that Klipinski's getting, which is 115.5. So he's a full 2 seconds a lap quicker than the two cars behind him. We haven't actually got a lap time for the car that went off on the first lap, because funnily enough, he didn't complete a lap to get one posted. So that's the problem we've got there. So we can compare the lap times between the three cars, and we can see that there's one car in the league of its own, another car, and the other two are sort of having their own private battle here. But nonetheless, they endeavour to continue on, and I think we'll certainly see Klipinski making his way towards the front of the grid in the final. Laps are still ticking by as well, I should point out. We've got 4 laps completed, so we're on lap number 5 now, so it'll be halfway next time by for the race leader. Everybody's still on the lead lap as well, but that goes without saying, as we've not seen any moments as such. There's only been one moment all race, as the personal best laps going from Gillett and Dorr, but they've now found a second. They've gone 1:16.4 and 1:16.8 respectively now for their lap times. So looking further round then, it's certainly looking like Klipinski has got this one in the bag at the moment. And we're just making sure these two don't knock each other off the road, but they've spread out a little bit now. On the last timing beam, there is 1.2 seconds between them. The leader is a full 8 seconds up the road at this stage. So he is, well, he's not even in North Yorkshire. I think he's in West Yorkshire by this point as well. So it looks like everyone is going round as we're on board with the 22 of Christian Doer in the Deponey Racing Development sponsored car. Into the chicane they come. Gillis has managed to break away from the 22 car that runs behind. Fastest lap of the race, meanwhile, for Klipinski. Goes across the line to set a 1:15.356. Still 4/10 off his qualifying time, but that's to be expected, as one would imagine the cars have got more fuel in them this time around, as they have to do a few more laps of action, obviously, in this one. In qualifying, a lot of them were getting 5 or 6 laps in. It's double the length here, with 11 laps, or in the case of a couple of them, either not bothering to start or going out on the first lap. In the meantime, I hate to say it, but Klipinski has lost 7 seconds, and Joe Gillett has caught him, and he's got a 31-second first sector. So I think the leader has had a spin in the first sector. So I've only just caught that, but yes, the 53 car is not as dominant as it was looking a lap or so ago. We'll try and get an update as to what happened to Klipinski there. And yes, I've just been confirmed to you that the 53 car went off at the S's that time around. So it certainly says a lot, doesn't it? That you may be quick, but you can't be quick unless you're consistent. And that's consistency for you. And maybe a lapse of concentration from Klipinski, which sent him off the track. I'm not sure if he went for a spin or not, but I would assume he has. He managed to avoid the bales, which is the important thing. If that's any consolation you can take from this, he's not lost the lead, and he's also not hit one of the hay bales, which, as I said in qualifying, are a very solid entity that you do not want to mess with, particularly in cars which have got no protection of the wheels. In a tin-top car, you may be able to get away with it, but in these open-wheel cars, you cannot. And that is a very valid point. You have to be more careful with an open-wheel car. And yeah, it looks like we're just getting updates on what's happening elsewhere on the track. But the cars have now bunched back up again a little bit further, which is always a very positive thing. So it looks like we're just having a few discussions about how we deal with one of the drivers, but that's for another story for another day, I'm afraid. As Joe Gillett is now still running second place in 57, and he's once again lost a bit of ground to Klipinski, who's found a half a second or so in the last lap or two, which is a good start considering he had a bit of an off-track excursion a lap or so ago. We're now through onto lap number 8 of racing, so we're in the closing stages now of this Formula Ford heat number 1 here at Croft on this overcast Thursday evening. And I've just been given updates that Klipinski's car is looking a little bit tail happy, should we say. So perhaps maybe there was some damage dealt to that car that just isn't visual. So we'll have to just keep an eye on that car to see how well it handles in due course, but he's still able to keep his lead at a fairly consistent margin. Joe Gillis is really struggling to keep up with him, which is a surprise, as Joe was very, very quick the last time he came here to Croft. He's been very, very quick elsewhere in the season, so hopefully this is not a sign that Joe Gillis has fallen off the pace a little bit for this round. It's fair to say that Christian Doer, after having that great scrap with Joe Gillett early doors, has dropped off the pace, sadly. And in fact, has almost gone around at the chicane, but he's kept it on the straight now, despite having a bit of a lock-up. He's gone wide on the exit of the corner and nearly gone for a spin on the grass. As Klipinski, well, would you believe it? He's gone for another fastest lap, ladies and gentlemen. That is now 1:15.304, and Joe Gillett is going. He was going, but he's decided to return and not go for a spin, so all is well. But he will have lost a bit of time in doing that, as that's not the quickest way round the first corner at Tower Bend. That's fairly common knowledge. I have to just say, to quote one of my friends from another group that does oval racing. The important thing is not to lose speed in the corner to go quickly. And yes, we did take the mick out of him for that comment, but it is very true. You do need to do that. But I think it was more the fact he came up with that idea for a Formula Nova racing that all of us think is a bit silly. But anyway, that's another story. As they make their way around, Gillett is once again chucking it sideways. I think, if I remember rightly, Joe Gillett and David Sabre were trying to do who could do the best drift through the chicane here on the first round of the championship, which amazingly didn't catch any of them out, which was quite impressive. And speaking of being caught out, I think we've just lost Christian Dorr in the background. Has he gone round? Yes, he has. So he's overcooked it in the chicane. He's been looking to do that all day, and it's finally come round to bite him in the behind area. I'm not going to say what I was going to say because that would probably not make it through the censorship monitor, as they make their way now down into the first corner. I don't know quite why this is the case, but Simone Gillard-Hardin has decided to join the race, and there's only 2 laps to go. Right, okay, that is the latest arrival I've ever seen to a motor race. So doing a pit lane start with just 2 laps to go is not really what you meant to do. But anyway, he's out on track now, so we've got 4 of them on track. I admit one of them can't really do a huge amount at this stage, been in the region of 9 laps down, funnily enough. But he will get a 4th place, as he will overtake the car that went off on the first lap. So Klipinski has now made his way round the Oxo Bend, and he's en route to the chicane, where he will start what I believe will be his final lap of the race. So 10 laps in the books, just 1 more left to do for Klipinski, who is set to make his way forward into another race win after setting the quickest time in qualifying in the earlier part of tonight's race meeting. Joe Gillett still runs in 2nd. Christian Dorr still runs in 3rd. And Simone Gillard-Hardin, I'm sure, after a bit of argument, will be given 4th, but we'll get that confirmed as and when I know, as I think it may come down to the fact he hasn't completed 75% race distance. But Klipinski, well, he went away at the start and hasn't been seen since. He had his off-track excursion in the S's midway through the race, but since then has not put a foot wrong in this one for the Formula Fords. Here he comes into the Spa Ben left-hander for the final time, and it certainly looks like he is set and ready for yet another race win. Around Oxo Bend for the final time, and he will make his way up into the chicane. But I've just been reminded there aren't points on this race, but we'll just see if he gets classified or not, is what I'm saying behind that. So through the chicane for the final time, and here comes Klipinski in 53 across the line. Checker flag out there ready for him, up and down on the 53 car. Joe Gillett will cross the line in the 2nd position in his Titan Mark 6, and then behind him will be Christian Dorr in the 22 car, which is another Titan Mark 6. The race-winning car, driven by Klipinski, was a Van Diemen FA73. And I don't think, Gillard-Hardin's short-lived attempt at joining the race didn't last very long. I think he's crashed. So, he's also not going to finish the race either. But there you go. Just the 3 finishers from the 5 starters in Formula Ford Heat 1. We'll get the times confirmed for all those cars, and then once we've sorted that out, we'll get Heat 2 sorted for you. And once we've had a quick advert break once again, and I've answered a couple of messages on Discord, we'll get Heat number 2 on track and ready to go. Right, back with you very shortly with Formula Ford Heat 2.
It was a simpler time, a time of hope and faith in the future. Blue jeans and white t-shirts were in. And Mazda introduced the Miata, a ragtop, a 2-seater, a true roadster. Everyone seemed to be feeling pretty good. The new Mazda Miata. It not only gives you a glimpse of 1990, it takes you back as well.
For Isuzu's 75th birthday, I baked this cake all by myself. But before we blow out the candles, let's make a wish. Wish for help with your down payment on a Trooper? Wish you could afford a loaded pickup? How about lower payments on an Impulse? Well, thanks to factory incentives of up to $2,500, your wish could come true. So hurry. Well, the cake's still warm.
Factory-to-dealer incentives could save you up to $2,500 during Isuzu's 75th birthday blowout.
Tonight on Tracy Ullman, it's a birthday bash.
Let's party!
And Fuzzy Bear's the main attraction.
The kids are gonna have a blast!
But there's just one problem.
Get your paws off me!
Deep down inside, he's a party animal. Tracy Ullman, next.
When you're hot, you're hot!
It's the hottest. It's your #1 Ford dealer's official clearance. Now get 2.9 financing or up to $1,000 cash back on Ford Ranger. Get 2.9 financing or $750 cash back on Bronco 2, or choose up to $750 cash back on F-Series. And that's before you make your best clearance deal. It's a great time to buy. Price and selection may never be better. It's the hottest. It's your #1 Ford dealer's official clearance.
When you're hot, you're hot! Hello, tomorrow, your children are here. Can you hear the new drummer? The future is clear. A generation of change, a generation of song, a generation of laughter coming on strong. A generation of Pepsi, a generation ahead.
Save over $15 with offers on specially marked Pepsi and Diet Pepsi 12-pack. Supplies are limited, so hurry to your store today.
Right, so very warm welcome once again back to Croft Motor Racing Circuit for round number 9 of the Classic Motorsport Hub British Automobile Racing Club Formula Ford Championship. Try saying that when you've had a few. But anyway, we're back once again. Heat 2 will be on track very, very shortly, and within very, very shortly, just double checking. No, we've not quite gone to race yet. I thought for a minute I would have done a seamless transition there, but too good to be, isn't it? Anyway, so we're back and just about set to go. This is for the cars that weren't in Heat 1. So this is a completely different group of cars. So you won't have seen these lot race yet today. You will have seen that in qualifying and practice earlier on, etc., as that was open to all cars. But this, of course, part of the 50-50 format that the Formula Fords run, that see 50% of the cars out on track. Well, as close as we can get to 50% without having an even number of cars. So this race will have the slightly smaller entry of cars of 4 of them. The last one had 5, although I understand that 2 of them didn't really feature a huge amount in it, and various happenings will be going on regarding said situations, I can assure you of that. But nonetheless, we are just about set and ready. And just to confuse matters more for me, in this race, it would be sod's law that we have the 2 identical looking cars on track together. But the first race, we didn't have a single Lola in that race. I should point that out to you. And in this race, all 4 of the Lolas that have entered to race today are out on track together. There's a bit of random trivia for you. So no matter what happens in this race, a Lola is going to win it. So there you go. That's my prediction. A Lola's going to win this race because nothing else can win it for them. So that's a bit of trivia for you, that half the cars here tonight are Lolas and they've all been drawn together. So, okay, I've just been corrected that David Saber's also out in this race, isn't he? And he's driving a Merlin. So I apologise. I stand corrected that actually I can't say what I just said because the other Lola that was here only did 1 lap, so that would explain why I got confused as to why there wasn't a Lola in Heat 1. But the car's now on the grid for Heat 2 after I've made another fool of myself on the commentary. And we've got 3 cars on the grid. Are we going to get all 4? Yes, we are. Miracles do happen. We've finally got a full complement of cars. So, waiting for the green flag to be shown from the start marshal on the right-hand side of your screen, left-hand side to the drivers. So, waiting for that green flag to run around the grid. There it is, look, the marshal pointing at the cars, making sure everyone's running. Green flag is up, and the green flag goes down. And where we go with this one, heat number 2 of the evening for the BARC Formula Ford Championship. And McCooley gets to jump towards turn 1 as Sibioni falls into line behind in second place. But Sibioni's going to go for a dive on the inside. He can't make it stick on the inside. Falling into line in third is David Saber, 83. And already Halil Sahin in car 208 is dropping back. So unfortunately, the third of the 3 Lolas has not got the best of starts. But it's looking like David Saber's going to make a move for second on Pascal Mikula. So the lone Merlin could be trying to make a charge to the front. Of course, David Saber's run that Merlin very, very well this year, as Mikula's gone sideways and almost gone around at the sunny corner. He's now been caught up by Sebbioni and indeed Saber as he's lost his momentum, and these cars are very much all about momentum. They've not got much power. Sebbioni down to the inside as they come into the left-hander at Spa corner. Mikula sideways again. And I think Sebbioni's just lagged out. He's back into the race there. I thought there was going to be contacts as Saber's had trouble, and they're going side by side round Oxo Bend. So Saber's on the inside of Sebbioni. They nearly bang wheels. In fact, they are going to bang wheels. They bang hubcaps. As they make their way into the chicane. You can't go too into the chicanes, I don't think, lads. And that's been point proven to Sebbioni. He's gone straight on the chicane and missed it completely. He's gone wide. He's rejoined the track, but he's lost a whole heap of ground. And Mikula leads the first lap. Sebbioni's had to go the wrong side of the dry stone wall to get around the chicane. He's re-emerged, thankfully, in third place. He's not lost all his ground. So a lively start to the Formula Ford. David Saber's now to second place in the Sunshine Desserts car. As I think it's fair to say, if you excuse the pun, I think it was more the case as Sebbioni saw the Sunshine Desserts car on the inside and made a meal of the corner as a result. But they make their way round, and that means Pascal Mikula is now your leader in the STP Works Lola T340. The Merlin runs second, and then we've got the other Works Lola running in third. So there's your 1, 2, 3, and Halil Sahin at the back of the grid in the independent Lola in fourth. So that's how it stands at the moment, as they make their way into the left-hander at Spa Bend for lap number 2. Once again, this is a 11-lap race for the Formula Fords. That is what the case is going to be for both heat races as well. So David Saber will now begin to try and chase down Pascal Mikula, and hopefully he does so we can have a decent race in his hands. But on the contrary, I think Pascal Mikula would like to think different at this stage. As they go right, then they go left through the chicane. Matthew Sebbioni has managed to get around the chicane in one piece this time, which is a fairly good start, as he made a bit of a mess of that on the first bend, on the first lap, I should say. But that was partly because there was a car on the inside, and you cannot go side by side through that chicane. It is just not possible because you've got the two walls either side, which are really just wide enough to get one car through, let alone two. All I'm saying is I wouldn't like to see them race anything like trucks around here, because they probably would get stuck in the chicane. Saber's run a bit wide on the exit of the S's, but he's kept it on the track. Split time is down to 2.3 seconds between the top two, and that is still tumbling, in fact, as Mikula appears to be getting reeled in a bit by David Saber here in the 83 car. The remaining two cars, unfortunately, have dropped off the back of these two. It's a bit of a shame, as the way it was going on the first lap, we were set for an incredible three-car battle, but it was not to be, I'm afraid. At the front, it may be a two-car battle later on in the race, though, which we can but look forward to, I think, is the case for this one here at Croft. Through the chicane they come, which, of course, concludes the lap here at Croft. Of course, a track that has been here for many a year in the UK. Of course, it did briefly, sadly, lose its license to race in the early 60s, this venue, but it was eventually revitalised. And of course, come the period we're looking at now in the 1970s, it was back as a fully fledged motor racing facility, and still operates to this day with a few regulations on it. It's, I think, one of only two circuits in the UK that can't operate before 12 o'clock on a Sunday. That and Alton Park are the two that can't operate before 12 o'clock on a Sunday morning, just for the local residents, really, which is why if you see one-day race meetings at either venue, they will always be on a Saturday rather than a Sunday. Of course, other venues, of course, do have implications on Sunday mornings as well, but that is just a bit of random trivia about Croft for you. Of course, the track, of course, has had a few configuration changes as well. Of course, we've had a few changes, of course, the configuration. When it was this style of circuit, of course, there was the hangar complex, which was a chicane halfway down the railway straight at one stage or another. That was back in the 1970s that was implicated. And of course, now we have the stadium complex completely here at Croft, where the track doesn't even follow its original line anymore. In the meantime, fastest lap of the race, I should point out for Pascal Mikula, a 1:19.066. So he's set a purple lap time in this race so far. We have got 4 laps in the books, and the leader's gone off. He's back on the track, though. David Saber's also running a bit wide in the background. So they both really had their various moments down at the Esses section, but they've kept both the cars on the straight and narrow in this particular occasion. As they come down the railway straight into Spa Bend, Spa Bend, of course, not part of Croft anymore, but this corner here, Oxo Bend, has now been made into Hawthorne Bend, which, of course, is the first corner of the current configuration of Croft. And this chicane is still here to some extent, but it's been opened out massively. And then, of course, the run down to Tower Bend remains, as that is now part of the second sector of the lap on the current Croft configuration. Of course, Croft obviously a permanent fixture these days on the British touring car calendar, which is a very prestigious championship in the UK. And of course, these other various club level events, with the 750 Motor Club seeming to the main operator of this venue these days, despite their hub being at Donington Park in Leicestershire. A track not featured on the calendar this year for Formula Ford, which is a big surprise, as off the road nearly goes past Mikula in number 3, and also another track that is very infamed in Formula Ford history is Mallory Park. Of course, that track also not making an appearance this season, but it obviously didn't have space on the calendar for those 2 venues this season, unfortunately. But Mikula still leads the way in number 3. He's still got that 2-second advantage, or 3-second advantage. Now, it's David Saber. I thought he was going to understeer off into the run-off area there, but alas, he didn't, so it's all right, which is probably keeping the heart rate down a little bit inside that Lola, which would be appreciated, I think. Into the chicane they come, and I have to say one thing I have just picked up on lap number 3, we lost, well, lap number 4 anyway, we lost Halil Sahin in the 208 car. So that's another car that's not going to finish the racing here this evening. So it's certainly becoming a case of who dares wins tonight. A lot of attrition going on, particularly in the lower reaches of the field this evening, which is, I grant you, not very far down the field, but you get what I mean by saying that. This is a beautiful onboard shot here. You can just see the precision and the commitment you need around this Croft circuit. It is very, very fast. Absolutely unbelievably fast, this configuration of Croft. You know, it just says, oh dear, oh, not quite. I thought he was going off into the bales there. That's a moment and a half there for Pascal Mikula, who somehow didn't hit the rear axle on the bales there, because if he had, that would have been one hell of a moment. He's still chucking it sideways, and that is almost overstepping the mark. Well, he's lost his front nose cone as well. Not sure where that went, but that maybe when he clouted the wall on the chicane last time around, which I did notice, didn't make a comment about at the time. We'll have to see if there's any debris on the track. Let's have a look. Is there any front nose cones there? Not that I can see, so it must have been lost somewhere else on the circuit. But that was full commitment through Spa Bend for Pascal Mikula that time around. I've not seen a Formula Ford back crossed up for a long time on here. And in fact, in doing so, is in fact at the fastest lap of the race of a 1:15.989. So maybe the aggressive driving style is maybe the way to go for a qualifying lap. Maybe not so much in the race, because that manoeuvre won't have assisted the tyres in their lifespan. Yes, we're on to lap number 8 now of this race. So it will be 2 laps to go this time around for your race leader, who is Pascal Mikula, still in number 3, who is led from the word go in this race. David Saber is trying to catch, but has lost ground more than anything else. He's now got a 5-second deficit to make up to the race leader. There he goes into the left-hand at Spa Bend. Pascal Mikula still running large and in charge. There's Matthew Sibiani, also in a lightweight special without the nose cone. So both the STP livery cars have lost their nose cones at one stage. And David Saber's Merlin is still in one piece, should we say. He makes his way out the chicane in car number 83 and up to the timing line to complete Another lap. He goes across the line. Pascal McCuller's gone quickest again, this time with a 1:15.750. So he's doing very, very well in this race thus far. So David Saber is attempting to catch, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Now, if I remember rightly, if I remember this rightly from what Pascal told me at the first round we came here, David Saber was the person who originally made this track for, I think it was Grand Prix Legends. If anyone remembers that game, well done to them. It's a game long before my time. He makes his way out of the sunny corner as they make their way down the railway straight, which, as you can probably tell, is one of the old runways here, with this track, of course, being an ex-RAF base. As, of course, I say pretty much every week is the case, really, with many of the venues in the UK. That particular section of the circuit now is used as the paddock area. So cars are stored in there between races and sessions these days on the current configuration of Croft. We're now on to lap number 9 of racing for the Formula Ford. So we are just a couple laps away from the end. So I apologise, it is going to be... Sorry, on to lap number 10, I apologise now. Sorry about that. I'll get my words out right eventually. I got caught out by the mini-map showing there was one car ahead of the 1-2, so I thought I was the leader by default, but it wasn't. That's the fact that Matthew Sabiani is 3/4 of a lap down on the charts. But he's still in the lead lap, and everybody finished on the lead lap in race 1. Oh dear, David Saber spun out of second place and into the banking. So David Saber is gone. He's managed to rejoin. And Matthew Sabiani has also retired from the race. He's gone off further round the track on the exit of Sunny Corner. So David Saber got a bit too much on the grass that time, and round it went. And that was all the car needed to be flicked out of the action. He's able to rejoin, though, and your leader still remains Pascal McCuller in car number 3. He will come round to start his final lap very, very shortly. He's coming in to the chicane and out the chicane, in fact, already. That was quick. Across the line he comes. 1 lap to go now for Pascal McCuller in car number 3. Second place is still David. So Pascal McCuller again goes fastest. And he's gone. He's spun around and round goes Pascal McCuller in number 3. He noses into the bales on the inside. But is he able to get going again? Yes, he is. And he's not lost track position. So McCuller is still your race leader, just about. So Saber has still got a long time to make up. Basically, what's happened there is that's cancelled out David Saber's spin on the run through the S's last time around, which is a very, very positive thing to see that, both drivers are making mistakes, which means they're both pushing the cars. And that's what we like to see. We want to see cars being pushed to the edge. These may be historic racing cars, but that is not denying the fact that they are still racing cars. And that is how they should be driven, on the edge of the limit, really the driver's going at them. But all that aside, coming into the chicane for the final time is Pascal McCuller, the German driver, into the chicane. Here he comes, in front of the grandstand. You will go right, then you will go left. Checo flag is at the ready for him, and your race winner of heat race number 2 is number 3, Pascal McCuller, in the STP Works Lola T340. Second place in the number 83 Sunshine Dessert sponsored car is going to be David Saber. He comes across the line to take second, and beyond that, well, there's nobody else to mention because there's no other finishers. So there you go, just the 2 survivors to Formula Ford heat number 2, so all the 2s in that sentence, and I'm sure I could probably throw a few more in there if I wanted to. But that's another race win for Pascal McCuller in number 3. He takes home the honours in Formula Ford Heat 2. So we'll be back with you very, very shortly with today's Formula Ford Grand Final over a distance of 20 racing laps. So until there's a quick advert break, we're back with you very shortly.
Night Court, the most outrageous fun on television.
I love my power.
Is this much fun really legal?
Coming to Fox 5, Monday, August 28th.
Tia has one big problem. Her Uncle Buck.
Cigar?
Now her home life is falling apart.
I'm stunned that I'm related to you.
And her social life is going up in smoke.
Yeah. Where have you been all your life? a closet.
John Candy
I'm Anita Horgar.
I'm Buck Melanoma. Molly Russell's wart.
is Uncle Buck from John Hughes, rated PG. Starts Wednesday at a theater near you.
Extra, extra! Kentucky Fried Chicken introduces new extra tasty crispy. Millions cross the road to try it. Dateline, Duluth. Man devours 47 pieces, asks for more. Through and through flavor captivates the country.
Tastier. Great chicken.
Extraordinary. Only Kentucky Fried Chicken has it, and the demand is astounding. Extra, extra, new extra tasty crispy. It's a whole new reason to cross the road to Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I understand that some of you don't think about taking Roy Rogers' chicken home for dinner. Well, why am I here every night? Why is all this chicken here? I could be out playing golf. So listen now, it's chicken month at Roy's. You hear? Chicken month. You buy a 16 or 20-piece bucket, I'm going to give you this picnic bag free. Hot and delicious chicken, free picnic bag. Come on, give him the card.
Roy's Chicken Month. Get a free... Ice cream is very good, but ice cream with the rich, delicious taste of Hershey's chocolate syrup is even better. Hershey's syrup makes good things even better.
What do these breath mints have that Tic Tacs don't? More zip? Nah. More pleasure? Oh, I remember. More calories. I knew there was something.
So, very warm welcome back to Croft Motor Racing Circuit once again for this 9th round of the BARC Formula Ford Championship. But as always, we've not done it yet tonight, but some housekeeping to do, and just to update you on the upcoming events here at the Classic Motorsport Hub. Our next event, which will be coming up this weekend over the weekend of Saturday the 30th and Sunday the 31st of July, is the Masters Trophy, returning with the 1970s Talladega 500 from the Alabama International Motor Speedway. We've got up to 49 cars available for that one, as you can get big, full American stock cars in action for that one. And it will be certainly an incredible event around the fastest and biggest super speedway America has to give you. And in fact, the world has to give you as well, in the minds of Bill France, who originally built the track for NASCAR in the late 60s and early 70s. But that's coming up here this weekend on the 30th and 31st July. So that's in just 2 days' time for qualifying, and then 3 days' time for the race on the Sunday evening. So that's coming up here over the course of next weekend. Anyway, we're back to Formula Ford time, I believe, now for tonight's grand final over a distance of 20 racing laps. We'll get the grid read out to you now, as I've been very kindly given it during the advert break. So Klapinski will line up on pole position in this race. Pascal McKill will be second place, which if he hadn't spun in heat number 2, he would have been on pole, but he lost 4 seconds and he only had to lose 2 seconds to lose pole, so that was unfortunate for him. Joe Gillett was third on the grid. Fourth on the grid is David Saber. Chris Dorger is running in fourth on the grid. Fifth on the grid, I should say, rather. Sixth on the grid is Matthew Sabioni. Halil Sahin is going to be seventh on the grid. Krashachilvili will be across in the 8th position on the grid, and Gilla Hardin will be in 9th on the grid. I should point out that it was elected that the good Lord, I've got to get the number up now. It was decided that car 340 did not do enough distance in heat number 1 to be given a position. So basically, although yes, he probably covered more distance than the car that crashed, as he joined in so late in the race and only did 1 lap, he was elected he was not going to be classified. So that's the reason why that car is at the back of the grid, because it was not classified. So that's kept you up to date with that. And obviously, we understand that a bit of a stewards inquiry had to go on to decide the grid for this weekend's meeting. But nonetheless, we have got a grid now. And at the moment, we have got 8 cars with us. We are missing one of them. Now, the car that's missing, I'm just trying to get for you now, because I just need to work out who it is. I'm looking down the list, and I think the car that's missing is the car that went out lap 1 of heat number 1. So that will be the 32 car that has gone. So yes, the 32 car is not out there at the moment, but whether he will elect to join us, I remain to find out. He was unfortunate to go out in the first lap of heat number 1, unfortunately. So just waiting to see if he's going to join us. Hopefully this doesn't mean we've got the same waiting game we had at Brands Hatch, because the Brands Hatch one, we had a bit of a wait between the final heat and the final. Hopefully we don't have the same course here today. Speaking of which, I don't know how much they're going to appreciate mentioning this. Of course, so this weekend, if you are living in the UK, of course, I would like to point out a big historic race meeting in the UK at Alton Park for the Gold Cup meeting, held this weekend from the 29th to 31st of July, which will be a brilliant race meeting, I'm sure, with plenty of action, including, I believe, 2 maximum capacity grids of Formula Ford, as brought to you by the Historic Sports Car Club. So that'll be a rather interesting prospect, along with a few interesting bits and pieces elsewhere. But that will be something to look out for if you're in the UK this weekend. But we are just still waiting to see if we're getting that last car or not to join us on the grid. And hopefully we will, because more the merrier. Okay, we've just been told they have got 2 minutes to join us. So 2 minutes, and if they're not here in 2 minutes, I think it's going to be a case of... well, I'm sorry, but you were too late. We're going without you. So with that, we'll see what happens on this one. Now, I'm not going to put any predictions in here, but what can Klipinski do from the front row, I wonder? We've seen that him and Mikula are on very similar pace here this evening. Now, we've also got some of both of them lost it in their heats. Mikula spun down at Tower Bend, and we also lost Kaplinski down at the S's. We've also seen Klipinski have all manner of moments at the S's as well in qualifying, when the car went up and over in full-on Days of Thunder style, straight over big style. Thankfully, nobody else has managed that. And now I'll have to have a double check, but I think that might have been the first rollover we've had this season in Formula Ford, because I don't know quite how you could manage it anywhere else. So a few of the drivers have been informed we are just waiting for one car, which we think we've now got. In fact, we've got 9 of them in server, which means I think we've got everybody that we need, which is a good start. And I'm sure once we've got that, we'll be underway in racing. Okay, so we are ready to go then. Right on time, I've been told. So, yeah, that's a good start. Still better timekeeping than the average British Racing and Sports Car Club meeting. So just waiting for them to all get gridded up, and then we'll be off and racing very, very shortly. So just final few conversations going on in the server. I can see on the timing screen various names popping up saying things. I don't think there's anything that was said that I couldn't broadcast, but I couldn't read it quick enough. So here we go then. This is a big grid of cars. 9 cars on the track for this one. What's going to happen come the finish? Are we going to see anybody decide not to start? It looks like everyone's on the grid, which is a very, very good start. So once again, as per the heats, look at the start marshal on the right. He will show you when the green flag is going to go down. We've got one car that's already escaped from the front row. They've still got a bit of time to join us, have they? Yep, they're all in position. The green flag is raised. Here we go. And it's green flag. Away we go. Run doing racing. A massive Plymouth tyre smoke as they lead the line. There's somebody at the back has bogged down. I think that was Gilla Hardy that bogged down, possibly. No, it was Halil Sahin that bogged down. Klipinski needs to turn 1. It's 3 wide for second. Something's got to give there. That's something was Pascal McKenna to dive down the inside a bit more aggressively than he maybe would have particularly liked. Joe Gillett got forced off the track a bit by Matthew Sebbiani, but I believe everybody has got round the first bend okay, which is a good start. So, Klipinski will make his way gone at the front as Matthew Sabbioni and Joe Gillett running line astern, and Sabbioni to the inside of Gillett. They almost bang wheels, but they survive it on the most part as Sabbioni has got a bit side. Saber's got around his outside. Dorga is in there as well. That's Christian Dorga as they go side by side for the lead. Kaplinski and Mikula side by side as they come into Spa Bend. Side by side as well, going on for fourth place. But Saboni's got the inside line as that has to result in Saber backing out. Mikula's now got the lead. And I think Kaplinski will try and make the cut back on the inside as they come into the chicane to complete lap number 1 of racing in this 20-lap grand final for the Formula Fords. Here they come. Kaplinski almost to the inside, thinks twice about it, backs out, lets Mikula have the line. And Mikula's got a bit sideways on the exit of the corner, which has cost him a bit of momentum as they come to the start-finish line for the first time. Across the timeline, they come for the first time. And Klipinski's now on the inside, looking at the inside of the Tower Bend, but he's going to have to back out on that one. He's not close enough to make a dive on the inside. And to be fair, I don't think it would have been very wise to try the dive on the inside either. So that's the top two. Let's have a look, see if there's anything else going for the back. We've already got a car gone. Halil Sahin has gone again early doors, so unfortunately his night is slowly getting worse and worse. Great battle for fourth place. David Saber has got Christian Dorga behind him. He's got Joe Gillett as well in front, so got 3 cars scrapping over the fourth place position at the time being, which could be a point to look at for the foreseeable future with 3 cars together. They've got obviously the top 3 in front of them who have spread out a bit around the track now. Matthew Sabbioni, I can't say if he's been brought into this battle or pulling away from it at the stage that we're at. So Joe Gillett and David Saber still squabble, and Saber's on the inside of Oxo Bend. Have they made contact? No, they've not. They've survived it. And Saber's got Gillett in front of him. He's got Dorga left, right, shake it all about if you like, behind him, trying to make a way through either side of him as they come around to complete lap number 2. Your leader is still Pascal Mikula as far as I can tell, as David Saber's tucked under the gearbox of Joe Gillett's car in 57. Klipinski's making a dive to the inside of Mikula, side by side, last delay breakers to turn 1. Klipinski's on the inside, Mikula shuts the door on him. So once again, Mikula swings it round the outside with the greatest of ease, and Klipinski has to settle for second place again. He's still 3 from 53 as the top 2. Saboni's running there in third. In number 2, who's got a bit of clear track, he's the only person who's really been able to space themselves out around the circuit. 2 cars have dropped off the back of the grid, but they're not really in close proximity to each other to really make implications on each other's races, as Mikula locks up the inside front as they go into the right-hander at Sunny Corner. So for people who don't know, that's the inside front right wheel, which made no sense, that explanation, I grant you. As Pascal Mikula has now got Klipinski slipstreaming him down towards Spa Corner, the fast left-hander. He's been the trouble point for a number of cars here this evening. Matthew Saboni survived it tonight, unlike at the opening meeting where he went off twice there. As Klipinski's now got Mikula in front of him, and his sights set firmly on him. He's going to try for a dive on the inside of the chicane, or maybe the case is not, as we've already seen. A few people have trouble down at that corner as Klipinski's hitting a wall on the exit of the chicane, has lost a bit of ground to Mikula as he got fired out wide by the inner wall, unfortunately. We've got a great scrap going on for fourth place as well. In the background, I just saw that they were basically bumper to bumper, or nose cone to gearbox, either way you want to phrase it, because they're not tin tops, so we've got to remember that. So Klipinski's dropped off the back of Mikula again, as it looks like Saber's got Gillett trying to challenge him, but it's at the moment not looking like he's close enough to do anything. But the lead battle, I have to admit, is no better off. It's currently too spread out for them to do each other at the moment. We're on lap number 4, by the way, so we'll be quarter way through the race when we cross the timing line next time around. And it's now going to be side by side for the lead again. Klipinski's got to the inside for Spa Bend. It's a drag race down to the corner. And I think Mikula's lost out. Yes, he has, as Klipinski had the overrun as they went down the straight, but Klipinski's gone wide. He's off and almost into the bales. He survived it. And, Mikula's had to back out of that one as well to avoid cutting the side of the rejoining 53 cars. He went off onto the grass. And they're going to try side by side to the chicane, are they? No, they're not. Mikula falls into line. In fact, maybe he doesn't go to the inside, possibly. No, he backs out. The door is showing his face by Klipinski in 53. Mikula's still sat there behind, looking and waiting for that little opportunity to go through on the inside. But at the moment, it is just not arising. It's still Saboni in third. Fastest up of the race for Klipinski. 1:16.315. Mikula locks up. He's had a bit of a moment down at turn number 1. He's still locking up the wheel as he went all the way around the bend. Massive plume of tyre smoke that went right round the bend. As Klapinski and Mikula are still running line astern. It'll be interesting to see how well they get on as they go into the right-hander at Sunny Corner. There's Sabioni running in what is currently 3rd place in car number 2. He's got David Saber and Joe Gillett onto the chase of him. Whether they can catch him, we remain to find out. That is the case. As it looks like Saber may be about to see some pressure from Gillett. We'll see how well that goes on. He's there or thereabouts, but he's not close enough to make a dive at this current stage of the race. But give it a couple laps, maybe situations may change, and it could be a case of try and get past him at all means possible. But Kopinski's lead is not massive. He's only 0.2 seconds according to the timing screen, which is not much at all. Oh dear, got a car off of the track. Oh no, maybe not. Saboni's lag once again made it look as if he was going off. I thought that was an unusual moment if that was the case, as Joe Gillett is having a look at David Saber again. He's not made a move this time because he's not really close enough to do so, I'm afraid. That will mean that David Saber's safe for another few corners anyway. But now Matthew Sabioni is going to start to back these lot up. So this will develop more or less a trolley train as Sabioni's run wide. Saber and Gillett have almost gone off in sympathy behind him. Saber more so than Gillett, I think it's fair to say at this stage. As Matthew Sabioni has now been closed right up by David Saber as they come towards Spa Bend. Can they get past the South African, I wonder? The line astern. Saber can't get to the inside this time. Again, Spa Bend is not really a corner you can overtake on very easily. So these three are running very close. Oh, lead change possibly. No, possibly Killers was forced off the track by Klapinski. And Klapinski's going sideways. And the leaders have touched in the chicane. They've survived it. Oh, Klapinski's gone sideways. McCullough's on the inside. He's side by side almost on the home straight. But they fall back into line. And now they're effectively bump drafting each other as they go down towards the first corner. There's contact as they go into the turn 1. And there's still more contact. McCullough down the inside. They bang wheels again mid-bend. It's all gone horribly wrong, almost to the leaders, but they've survived it. What a manoeuvre, as McCullough has not got through, but Kopinski had some great defending there to avoid being taken by McCullough, as there was a bit of contact in there as well, which could have been disastrous for both those cars. So great stuff from the Formula Ford to the front of the field. So, in all that, I wonder if the 4th place battle has come alive again. I do wonder, but Kopinski has got McCullough in his slipstream, trying to catch more and more as they come down towards Spa Bend. This is a great scrap at the front of the field, and it's also been a very good scrap further behind as McCullough looks to the inside of Kopinski. Not this time, sunshine, he says. He comes across the nose of McCullough once again in what has been a very, very lively race at the front of the field. The battle further back in the order between the 3rd place cars is going well, and for some reason, I don't know how this has happened, but Pascal McCullough's transponder didn't pick him up that time, but he has now been slotted back in, so the transponder has found him again. So there was a bit of confusion there over who was what position, but McCullough is definitely 2nd place, regardless of what the transponders are saying or not. Obviously, manual lap scoring is an option, of course. We can do that. We've got Matthew Saboni still running in the 3rd position, but he's got a lot of pressure, I'd like to point out, from David Saber. So it'd be interesting to see what's happening back there if we can, because that could be a spicy battle as the race rages on. He seems to settle down a bit more now, which is bad timing to switch to them, unfortunately, as of course every time we switch to a car it seems to die down the battle. But I say that, and David Saber's tucked under his gearbox again, and we're trying to slipstream past him going down towards Spa Bend. So here they come in Spa Bend, and Saber's got the overrun this time, not quite. Matthew Sabioni keeps the inside line and just about keeps the position again. And Sabioni, he may not be as quick as David Saber here, but he's able to defend very, very well, which is certainly going to help. Joe Gillett In the meantime, I've only just noticed that Joe Gillett has gone a lap down, so I don't know what's happened to Joe Gillett. Is he out of the race? I can't tell. Now, David Saber pushes Matthew Saboni out of the chicane, so clearly didn't think Saboni was going fast enough. So Saboni will try and defend again from David Saber in 83. Saber now looks to the outside line at Tower Bend. I don't think that's really going to work. It might work in a national hot rod, but not in a Formula Ford. He may have actually done it, though. He's got the inside line for the S as well. He would have done if he could get the run out the corner, but unfortunately for him, Saboni was just a little bit too quick off the mark for him to try and get round the outside. Mikula is your leader, as Klipinski has gone down to second in the meantime, so there has been a lead change off camera, I'm afraid. I believe is the case. Saboni has... Oh, we've found another one. As Gillarhardin has hit the tyres, well, the bales, sorry, on the exit of Spa Bend. So that car, I think, is going no further. Well, it may be going a bit further. We're just on the back of a recovery truck instead, as under its own power. So once again to the chicane, Mikula and Kopinski are the 1-2 still. Doing very, very well here to keep going. Kopinski is trying to look on the inside of Mikula again. In fact, he's going to go to the outside at Tower this time. He's not going to make it happen around the outside. That's not going to happen. People have tried it. It's failed. It's never going to work, I don't think. As Klipinski has now got Mikula firmly in his sights again as they come towards Barncroft. And Kopinski's going for the inside at Barncroft. He's on the inside. He's there. He's in the gap. But again, Mikula just has to run around the outside and he just can't get through. It's an incredible bit of a scrap this is between the top two. I mean, this is by far and away one of the most lively races we've seen all season in the Formula Fords regarding positions changing. Mikula's going to try again. Klipinski's on the inside. Oh, there's contact! There's contact, and they've both survived it. How they survived it, I will never know, because I was sure that Mikula was destined for the tyre barrier on that one. But they somehow survive it with a bit of a argy-bargy move from Klipinski. Mikula's going to throw it down the inside of the chicane, is he? No. I think everybody's come to the conclusion that diving on the inside of the chicane is just asking for a crash. So unfortunately, that will be the case. So we are currently, as they come across the timeline this time, we are on lap number 11 out of 20. So we've just gone halfway. 10 laps are in the books, 10 to go. As Mikula down to the side of Kopinski again. This time, unable to make the move stick once more. Looking at the timing screen, we've still got a little bit of a battle going on for third, but it seems to have died down a little bit looking at the timing screen. So that's not really of interest at the time being. The interest is between the 1-2, who are very much fighting it out for the race win here. As Mikula and Klipinski still run line astern. And Mikula's going to the outside, or is he? He's trying to throw the dummy at him, I think. He's gone to the outside at Sunny Bend, Spa Bend, sorry. Can he do it? He's swept round the outside. What a manoeuvre from the German driver. Klipinski's going, and he's gone. And off the road goes Klipinski, off into the run affair. He's able to rejoin the track without hitting anything. But that is all that Pascal Mikula needed to get away at the front. And he is gone and gone. So, with that, Mikula now leads. Klipinski down to second place. David Saber is third, but he's got a whole train of cars behind him scrapping. So the third place battle is coming alive and well again, I think. Well, it would be, in fact, if they could close up a little bit more. But Saboni's not too far off David Saber. They both lock up into the chicane entrance, so maybe not the case for the field behind her to close it quite as much as one would expect. But Christian Dorger is still running in fifth. Joe Gillett is sixth, and we've lost three of them. So we've got a lot of cars that have dropped out in this one for the Formula Fords. So certainly the race continues to rage on. So looks like everybody is still going. Let's have a look at the best laps we've had set, shall we? We've also got a bit of a pause in the action. So Klipinski's fastest lap time is a 1:14.9. David Saber a 1:16.5. 1:16.6 for Matthew Saboni. Christian Dorger a 1:17.0. Oh, Matthew Saboni's gone. We've got a spinner. Round goes Matthew Saboni in number 2. I just looked back in time to see that, as I don't know how he's gone there. That was a very unusual place to go. I wonder if I can see a replay of that just to try and get together what happened there. That was a rather interesting moment for Matthew Saboni. Here's a replay of it. he's just overcooked it. He's overcorrected the car and it's gone round the other way. And can I just say, well done to Christian Dorber to avoid that car, as that was very nearly a banger-style head-on between the two of them. So very, very interesting moment there. And Matthew Sabioni is now down to 5th place. And once again, I will apologise for Pascal Mikula's transponder being intermittent. It's not quite updating all the time, but it is updating enough for us to be able to take a result from it. So just a quick notification that Mikula's transponder is occasionally not going through on the timing screen. So Klipinski is running second, still in 53. Into the right-hander they go at Sunny Corner. And Klipinski is trying to close back up to Pascal Mikula here. After Klipinski had a couple of laps go. But hopefully all has been resolved from that. Like I say, tyre wear, of course, will be a problem for that car if it's had a spin, because it may have flat spotted the tyres, which, as you well know, if you've raced motor racing. Oh, Mikula's almost gone as the lead, and he goes, and Klipinski's gone through. So Klipinski goes round the outside of Oxo Bend as Mikula, unfortunately, just had a little bit of a twitch that was enough to slow him down, and that was enough for Klipinski to go through. But this means the race is well and truly on again, as they most have thrown to lap number 14 now, so 13 laps are in the books. And Mikula down to the inside of Klipinski now, but Klipinski's going to hold the inside line again, so it's impossible for Mikula to get through on the inside line. Of course, if there's a car alongside you, you must leave them a car's width. But obviously, as Mikula wasn't there was no reason to leave him the car's width. So with that, Klipinski and Mikula still merrily go on their way as the 1-2. This has been a great drive from Klipinski in 53. He's done very, very well here this evening. Oh, a bit more contact again between the two of them. Mikula puts a bit of a nudge on the back of the Klipinski car. He had a bump and run NASCAR style there, or the bumper going in what I would say stock car terms. And Mikula's the inside of Klipinski going into Spa Bend, and this time he's got him on the inside, and there's more contact there, banging wheels. And that is getting a little bit lively out there, boys. You might want to be careful. There's Mikula and Klipinski side by side as they come round Oxo Bend towards the chicane. Mikula's managed to sweep in front, and Klipinski, will he try a dive to the inside, I wonder? The answer to that question is no, but Mikula's hit the inner wall down there on the entrance to the chicane. That's going to leave him open. Klipinski goes side by side with Klipinski. They just about avoid the pit wall, which if they hit that would have been rather devastating. I'm quite sure a car did that in qualifying off camera as they make their way into the right-hander. And this time Mikula's got the advantage as they go round Tower. I apologise to everybody else in this race, but these two have really got going at the front, so nobody else has really been able to feature so far. So Pascal Mikula and Klipinski still going at it for the race lead. Klipinski's going to go to the inside, possibly at Barncroft. Not quite this time. Sunny Bend could be the next opportunity. Again, not quite this time is the answer. And down onto the hangar straight they go. Well, not the hangar straight, the railway straight, I should say. It looks like Mikula's still got the lead. So can Klipinski do anything coming into the left-hander at Spa, I wonder? That's the next question I've got. And so far the answer to that is no. But he's going to try again as they come around Oxo Bend. Has he got the nose in front? No. Mikula's still got the inside line kept, which of course gives him the advantage as they come through. We have been going now for around 20 minutes. We've got 15 laps in the books when they come round to start the next lap. So round now, they've now got 15 laps in the books. We're on lap number 16. So the laps are rapidly winding by in this Formula Ford Grand Final here at Croft this evening. Klipinski to the outside line of Mikula again. This time, he's got well and truly alongside him, but he's going to try the cutback on the inside. He's got the cutback to work, I think. They're going to go side by side to the S's. And Mikula comes across his nose, and that may have caused a bit of a problem. No, it hasn't. They've both kept it on the track. From where I was looking, it looked like they'd made contact, but the case certainly was not, as they both more or less got out of that unscathed. But this is what's going to be the talking point of the last few laps of racing, I think. As Mikula's now been pushed out of the corner by Klipinski and has got a right old tank stopper on down the straight by the looks of things. So side by side as they come into the left-hander at Spa Bend. And this time Mikula's got the advantage he needs to keep Klipinski at bay, which is all the more positive as they make their way round Oxo Bend. It looks like we're just waiting to see what's happening when they come into the chicane this time. I would reckon Kaplinski will try again. Well, maybe not is the case for Kaplinski there. He just didn't have any room to get through on the inside of Mikula there. We're coming through now onto lap number 17. So I believe 4 laps to go for the Formula Fords. So this has been great stuff so far this evening. And it looks like Kaplinski is your leader for the time being. Mikula still running in second. David Saber is third. A few cars have obviously retired as Mikula gets a bit crossed up on the exit of the S's there. That's nothing towards. We've seen cars do that already so far this weekend. And that is very much a trait of these Formula Fords getting a bit squirrely in places. So with Kaplinski still leading, Pascal Mikula's really got to find an answer to him very, very soon, with not a huge amount of time left in the race. Mikula goes full commitment through Spa Bend. We can't argue with that. It was very impressive. And Kaplinski's gone sideways as well, that time at Oxo Bend. So both of them seem to be pushing the cars quite hard. At the moment, lap traffic doesn't look like it's going to be a concern for this race. They've managed to keep themselves bunched up enough, so lap traffic isn't a problem as such. So making their way into Tower Bend. And Kaplinski has run a little bit wider than Mikula this time. Mikula is not able to really capitalise because he wasn't close enough to do anything about that. David Saber still quietly motoring on in third. Christian Dorga is running fourth. He's run well. I've not seen him race before, so I don't know if he's a newcomer to Formula 4 tonight or not. I think he was down as a one-off entry on the entry sheet, which probably explains he is a newcomer to Formula Ford. Oh, meanwhile, side by side for the lead, I should point out, and Mikula's gone through. So Mikula now retakes the lead, and Kaplinski gone through into second place, but he's back on the inside, and once again, they nearly bang wheels, and Mikula's been forced onto the grass, but he's kept it on the straight and narrow. Well, I say on the straight and narrow, more the sideways and narrow may be the case, more so with that, and Kaplinski will now retake the lead as they come through on to lap number 19 of the race. So we have now just got 2 laps to go as Mikula round the outside, possibly at turn 1. Can he do anything about it? He's got there on the outside. Can he sweep round the outside? Kaplinski's all over the grass trying to avoid him. They nearly bang wheels again. And Mikula's got the room round the outside. What a manoeuvre to keep the position round the outside line. Kaplinski's falling in line in second again. So this is going to be an incredible last 2 laps, I can tell you that for nothing, as they make their way into the right-hander at Sunny Corner. And this is going to be the grandstand finishers of all grandstand finishers here at Classic Motorsport Hub tonight. A little did we know at the start of the night, with so few cars here, we'd have such a good conclusion to the night's racing as they come into the complex for the penultimate time. Just waiting to see what's going to happen when they click onto that final lap, whether it's all going to be red mist or whether it's going to be just stay as you are, fellas, and just get the cars home. We don't know what's going to happen. It's all down to what these drivers decide they're going to do with this final lap of the race. Lock up for Mikula as they come into the chicane. But it is 1 lap to go now for number 3, Pascal Mikula, your race leader in the Works Lola T340 STP livery car. Into the first corner for the final time. Kaplinski is there, looking, stalking out his prey, seeing what he can do. He's like a lion hunting down a gazelle, if you know what I mean. As they come into the S section for the last time, Mikula can only see Kaplinski's car in his rearview mirror at this stage. It's a blue and yellow rearview mirror with a reverse 53 on it. Here they come into Sunny Corner for the final time. This is where the move will have to be made, I think, coming into the railway straight. Has Kaplinski got enough in the bag to do anything about Mikula? He's slipstreaming him. Has he got the run as they come down the straight? That's the question everybody's asking. Here they come into the Spa Bend for the final time. Kaplinski got to do everything he knows to try and get past. Oh, there's contact! And I think Mikula's gone. Yes, he has! Kaplinski's gone with him. They're both gone. And Kaplinski's in the barrier. And unfortunately for Kapinski, the car is beached. And Pascal Mikula, against all the odds going into the final corner, I think is going to win this race. So Kapinski, after 19 and a half laps, is beached. And David Saber's now gone through for second. I do not believe it. And Pascal Mikula, against all the odds, takes the checkered flag. Wow, what a finish. David Saber in the Merlin will be second place in car 83. He comes home in second. Has Kapinski got going again? He has, but he's lost 2 places. And Chris Dorger comes across the line in third, and Kapinski, doing some rally crossing, will come home in fourth. Where's Matthew Sebbiani? Where's he? Coming through the chicane now. He's going to come across the line and finish 5th place. And Joe Gillett will come home in 6th place, to my knowledge. Yes, here he comes. Into the final chicane comes the 57 car. Right. Then we'll go left again. And across the timing line to complete the distance is 57 Joe Gillett to round out the field in 6th. Nobody else is left to finish. But what an end. That was absolutely incredible as the pace car sees some punishment. Not quite sure why it needed some punishment, but it did. But Pascal Mikula takes the win on the final bend of the race after he got run into the back of by Kapinski, who misjudged the corner completely in a do-or-die manoeuvre. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what Formula Ford is all about. Close racing like that from lap 1 to lap 20. Unfortunately, it didn't end all that well as David Saber finishes his night off with some donuts. Very good donuts as well, I might add, David, if you're watching. So thank you very much for them. But yes, a brilliant way to end the evening here at Croft. That will round out the Formula Ford season for a bit. We've got the summer break to come now, and then we're going to have the remaining part of the Formula Ford dates coming up later in the season. The Formula Ford is back with us again in September. I don't quite know where they are at the stage that we're at, but I will try and confirm that to you before we sign off this evening. But it looks like we are just about done and dusted then here at the Classic Motorsport Hub. So unless there's anything else that I need to just say before I sign off, I think that's about it for the evening's racing here. So, yeah, well done once again to all the drivers as well that have turned up. And, yes, very good stuff. So, yes, there's just one more thing I need to do before I sign off this evening here at the Classic Motorsport Hub. As always, thank you very much to everybody who's raced, and, of course, everyone who's decided to tune in at home. But, yes, as we say, as we also say, that will be the end of the night's racing. I've just been confirmed that that is actually Pascal Mikula's first final win of the season for the Formula Ford. So very well done to him on that one. But anyway, don't forget, next meeting here will be this weekend on Saturday and Sunday, the 30th and 31st of July. Masters Trophy for the Talladega 500 1970 spec cars, as I say, get full American-style NASCAR stock cars on a big 2.5 mile super speedway held at the Alabama International Motor Speedway in Talladega. Of course, as I say, the biggest ever super speedway constructed in the world by the NASCAR head at the time, Bill France. But there you go. That's coming up here this weekend. 49 cars available as well. But on behalf of all of us here at the Classic Motorsport Hub, thank you very much for your support this evening here at Croft. We will see you again very soon. I believe there is live streaming taking place on Saturday for qualifying. You haven't got me for that one, as I'm sure you'll be glad to know. But until next time, and we'll see you again after the summer break. Goodbye and good night from the Classic Motorsport Hub.